big screen, the avatars of the 6 candidate actresses hung on it. At this moment, more than 40 million American viewers are watching the live broadcast at the same time because this award is not only weighty, but also highly competitive and suspenseful. The other 3 are already destined to run together, and the key is the rivalry between the Olsen sisters and Charlize Theron, both of whom have high voices. They are all same-sex themes. They have done a lot of publicity and canvassing. They have all made great sacrifices for the role. They have all contributed breakthrough acting skills, and they are all produced by one company. This time, it was not the 3 women who were tested, but the judges of the Oscars, and it was the Academy that was tested. The Olsen family, the family has come together again since the last Golden Globe Awards. Little Elizabeth sat in the middle. Mom and Dad sat on either side, the 3 of them holding hands and staring at the TV screen. Success or failure is in one fell swoop. If they can win the Oscar again, Ashley and Mary will become world-class female stars, completely get rid of the past label, and become gods in one battle. At the same time, it can also greatly stimulate the performance of double-star entertainment, and the peripheral sales of the 2 sisters will definitely increase dramatically. Theron's house. Her mom Gerda Theron stared nervously at the TV screen. Since that year, she shot and killed her husband to protect her daughter, and after her acquittal, she took Theron to pursue her dream and finally came to Los Angeles. More than 10 years have passed, and he is still alone, but his daughter has become stronger and stronger. Started from a small role step by step to the position of the heroine, the box office appeal is getting stronger and stronger, and the name of the glamorous goddess is getting louder and louder. As long as he wins the Little Golden Man again, it symbolizes that his daughter's career has reached its peak. Gotta get it, get it. Gerda's palms were already drenched in sweat. Dolby Theatre. Adrien Brody opened the envelope, looked at it, and raised his eyebrows. The winner of the Best Actress is Charlize Theron. Cokes. In an instant, the audience erupted in warm applause, and everyone sent their blessings at this moment. Eric looked to the side, worried that Sister Olsen would lose her temper and not be as embarrassed as Joey in Friends. As he expected, the 2 sisters pounded their chairs in annoyance, but fortunately the movements were hidden from the camera. He just wanted to say something to remind, but the 2 of them smiled and clapped their hands to send blessings, as if they really thought so in their hearts. Well, the acting skills have indeed improved a lot. The crew of The Devil was in a row behind Eric, and Theron had already stood up excitedly, with a smile on his face, but tears in his eyes. Sacrificed so much and paid so much, and finally got what he wanted, and lived up to himself. During this period of time, her mental pressure has been very high, and it is normal for her to suffer from gains and losses, and her heart is very entangled. One moment I think I have to go all out to fight for it, and the other time I feel that if I can't get it, forget it, and I am fortunate to lose my life. So the moment I heard the result, tears unconsciously welled up. After hugging the crew, Theron felt a little empty, because he still needed the blessing of an important person. At this time, Eric stood up, turned around and opened his arms, and the 2 immediately hugged each other. As an investor, there is nothing wrong with his approach. If The Devil Woman wins Best Picture, he will also be responsible for taking the stage to accept the award. After the 2 embraced, Theron finally walked on stage contentedly and received the trophy from Adrien Brody. This kid is very disciplined this time, because the last time he kissed Halle Berry, he was really warned by the Academy. Looking at the crowd in front of him, Theron said with tears in his tone, "I can't believe it. I really won the Best Actress. It's just so exciting. I was in a very wrong mood and felt like crying a little bit, but I knew I couldn't because I didn't have enough time, and I still have a lot of people to thank." Ha 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 ha. Chuckles rang out from the crowd. I would like to thank the director Patty, who wrote such a great script and persuaded me to do it. As you guys think, at first, I was hesitant to play the role, but thanks to Patty, thank you. Thanks to Sam, Bob and other media people, thanks to Carol, Jennifer and other crew members, I can't pronounce your names one by one, but thanks to you the film was made. Thanks also to Christina Ricci, we worked together very well and I couldn't have played so well without you. We made each other better. The camera was shown to Friday and Ricci smiled and nodded. She also looked beautiful today. Thanks also to the filmmaker, Eric is not only a talented young talent, but also has amazing courage and vision. You all know that he made a cameo as a director for a day, but not only that, but there are a lot of deep scenes in the movie that he suggested he added, and I know it makes the film seem cruel, but it also makes it more profound. But I heard that the box office of the movie was not too good, and I can only say sorry for this. Maybe I can compensate you privately. Oh. Yes. Hearing this, the scene suddenly erupted in a tsunami-like coke. Just kidding, that's Charlize Theron. Even in Hollywood, where there are so many beautiful women, it is called the brightest pearl. Everyone knows that she has been single for a long time, and there have been several scandals, but there has never been any evidence of stone hammer in the media, so she is most likely still single. Now the goddess has sent out an invitation, although it is likely to be a joke, but what if it is true? It's just that seeing that the invitation is Eric, a super rich man and a Hollywood super player, many people's jealousy disappears. Can't compare, really can't compare. For Eric Cooper, even if the goddess chases backwards, it's understandable. On stage, Theron continued, time is running out, and at the end I have to thank one person, and that is my mother. To be able to live here, to make my dreams come true, you have sacrificed a lot for me, more than I have sacrificed for the movie. My love for you cannot be described in words. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Bang bang.
Amid warm applause, Theron walked off the stage with the little golden figure in his hand, feeling the weight in his hand, which contained a lot. After she left, Martin Scorsese took the stage to present the award for Best Director. The films nominated for Best Director are Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings 3, The Return of the King, Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, Clint Eastwood's Mystic River, Fernando Muriel's Lawless, Eric Cooper's Adele's Life. After Ashley and Mary were defeated, although they were unwilling, they could only focus on other awards. If they can get it, although it is not an honor that directly belongs to them, they also have their credit, not to mention the award of their own man, which can be regarded as making up for it. Seeing the nervous expressions of the two, Eric didn't take it seriously. Don't get excited, it's normal not to get it, my mentality is calmer than yours. But this kind of comforting words obviously didn't work for the teenage girl who debuted at the Oscars, and the two glared at him instead, probably blaming you for being so unambitious. Old Martin opened the envelope and smiled. The winner is Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings 3, The Return of the King. Congratulations. As a result, the bearded man happily took the stage to accept the award. Ashley and Mary puffed out their cheeks in annoyance. There is one last one left. The movie is so popular, it is not enough to win only one screenwriting award. Finally, Spielberg took the stage to present the ultimate award for Best Picture. We always save the Best Picture for the last announcement because it's the sum of all the elements. The end of a journey always begins with a dream. What sparked those dreams this year is J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy, the adaptation of Aubrey and Maturin's excellent novels, and The Galloping Age, which pays homage to the horses of the last century. Mystic River, a thriller about three friends growing apart, lost in Tokyo, an old man and a young girl's love story, and Adele's Life, which depicts the sincere feelings and lives between two young girls. All 5 works are the crystallization of the finest films, condensing the sweat and hard work of hundreds and thousands of people, and all deserve the most solemn applause and praise. As he spoke, Spielberg opened the envelope and smiled slightly after reading the results. He pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose. The winner of the 76th Oscar for Best Picture is The Lord of the Rings 3, The Return of the King. Is still a result without suspense. So far, The Lord of the Rings has completely reached the altar. 11 nominations and 11 wins, creating history and equaling the award record in film history. Peter Jackson led a large number of voters to the stage to accept the award after giving an acceptance speech. The host, Christo, invited all the winners to take a group photo together on stage and left this precious photo together. After the awards ceremony, it was naturally a Vanity Fair dinner, and Eric was as lazy as ever to attend and walked through the motions to take some photos of the media before patting his ass and preparing to leave. The result was the same plot as at the Golden Globe Awards, and he was stopped when he was about to walk to the door. Looking back, it's still Paris Hilton. The two have not been in touch since the Golden Globes. She does not appear in front of her, and Eric has almost forgotten about this person. Paris Hilton hurried up. "Eric, why are you in such a hurry every time?" "No, it's not that I don't like parties. I just don't have an interest in ineffective socializing, and there are already so many stars here that I'm not short of them." His point of view Paris Hilton obviously can't understand. This chick belongs to socialites, the kind that will die if she doesn't participate in socialization, and it will be many years before she awakens. "Eric, you made history. This sentence is so handsome. I was almost fascinated by you when I watched it below." "Hee, it's just a feeling. So, you're here to congratulate me?" "Not all. I've been thinking about your proposal, that reality show, for a long time, and I think it's good to try." "Sure." "Yes, Nikki and I discussed it, and the two of us appeared together. Knowing Paris, MGM will not live up to your trust. Someone will contact you in the next few days. We will finalize the specific matters first, and hope that the cooperation is pleasant. It's going to work with you, and now it's rumored that MGM is the company that knows how to hold new people the most. Come on, let's go in and have a drink to celebrate." Eric looked at the time. "Forget it this time. I still have things to deal with. Next time I will invite you." Watching Eric get into the car and leave, Paris Hilton stomped his foot hard. She deliberately dressed up to attend today, and also used a special perfume, which is said to have a unique formula and an aphrodisiac magic, especially for men. The reason why Oscar did this is one reason, and another reason is that he is ready to hook up with Eric Cooper. It's a pity that such an excellent man can't sleep once. But failed again. She has already failed twice. Taking out a small mirror from her bag, she couldn't help but touch her face. Am I not beautiful enough? Why am I not attractive to him? Damn. No, everyone compliments me on my beauty. There must be something wrong with that perfume. Those guys lied to me. It must be fake. No, I'm going to find another chance to give it a try, and I'll definitely sign a contract in a few days. Maybe I can dress a little bolder, and I don't believe you won't take the bait. Click. Theron pushed open the door and walked into the villa, turned on the switch, and the lights came on. Then she covered her mouth in surprise, and her eyes were full of red roses, which was extremely beautiful. Eric stood there, holding a delicate flower in his hand, looking at her with burning eyes. "Honey, did you do this?" Eric nodded, and after Theron left for the ceremony, he arranged for someone to decorate everything, just to surprise her. If you don't win a prize, then it makes sense to change your mind and turn surprise into comfort. OMG. Oh my God, my heart is pounding. It's about to come out. Eric smiled and said, "Then please wait a minute, because I'm going to send you a blessing next." Smack. With a snap of the fingers, the music begins. Flamenco. Known as the most provocative and sexy man in the dance moves, Eric dances in his eyes with his movements full of power and desire. Looking directly into his eyes, Theron only felt that his heartbeat continued to accelerate, his whole body seemed to be burning, and his desire was provoked. Click. The shoes made a rhythmic sound when they touched the ground, and Eric picked up Theron and spun him before the little golden figure fell to the ground. No one cares about it, and the fiery vibes and desires almost consume the two of them. Spin and jump. Theron cooperated with him to the window. Suddenly there was a bright light on Beverly Mountain, and countless fireworks flew out of it, covering the entire sky, just like on the night of her birthday. Under the beautiful fireworks, an affectionate kiss conveys the love of the two, and the two figures are closely intertwined. Eric, I love you. Me too, baby. The sun was shining through the windows on the bed, and it was still cold outside, but the United States has always been the most wasteful country in the world, and the air conditioning is not stopped, let alone a rich gathering place like Beverly Hills. Eric leaned against the head of the bed, Theron half lying on his shoulder, red kiss marks on his neck and chest clearly visible. Last night's celebration was too intense, and the excitement of winning the actress coupled with the surprise prepared by Eric made both of them very good. Not to mention that Theron has a lot of traces of battle on his body, and he has a lot of them. A laptop sat on Eric's lap, and he clicked on Yahoo News, and sure enough, the entertainment section was almost filled with Oscar news, and there were more or less other sections. The only one who can steal the limelight with this event is the upcoming Super Bowl. Isn't it? The Oscars are boring? The New York Times review is really confusing. Theron pointed to a headline and complained. Eric clicked the mouse and clicked it away. It turned out that he was spraying Oscar more and more timid. In the past, I dared to make a political fuss and engage in spicy satire. Even the hottest topics were not afraid, but in recent years I have become more and more timid. Especially after the outbreak of the war last year, the Academy explicitly forbade and warned every participating celebrity not to talk about politics and pay attention to words and deeds, so everyone restrained a lot. Bigwigs like Eric don't care about the Academy's ban, but they don't take a political stance lightly. Ordinary stars dare not disobey the orders of the Academy, and only high-status thorns dare to make a head bird. For example, at yesterday's Oscars, only Sean Penn came with the phrase, "No weapons of mass destruction," but he didn't dare to say more. Christo's jokes are even more subtle and rare, and it is normal to be complained about being bored. The Lord of the Rings 3 swept the 76th Oscars and won all 11 nominations, no one before or since. Sean Penn was crowned emperor with Mystic River and was nominated 4 times to win the award, and Charlize Theron broke through with The Devil. With the continuous maturity of film technology, the competition for the Oscars will become more and more fierce, and surpassing The Lord of the Rings may become a fantasy. The battle for the actress came to an end. Charlize Theron had the last laugh, and the Olsen sisters unfortunately lost. The Life of Adele failed to pursue her dream and unfortunately accepted the Best Original Screenplay award, and the Olsen sisters congratulated Charlize Theron on winning the actress crown. Vanity Fair is competing for Beauty, a collection of female celebrities' outfits, who is the most beautiful one. Eric Cooper once again defeated a strong opponent to accept the award for Best Original Screenplay, and after a year in the industry, he is a true movie wizard. Sofia Coppola admits that she is not disappointed and gives a round of applause to The Lord of the Rings. The award-winning hit The Life of Adele was lonely at the Oscars. The same-sex community expressed disapproval, and the integrity of the Academy was questioned. Theron looked at the news with interest. "Honey, it looks like the new line is really going to rise. You look at this news. The Lord of the Rings trilogy has brought at least more than $800 million in direct revenue to the new line. This is just direct income, and if you include various extended incomes such as copyrights, it is expected to bring in more than $1 billion if you take the golden 5-year period. In addition to extending the copyright income, there are also the predecessors and sequels of The Lord of the Rings, and Tolkien's worldview is very large. There's really hope that the new line will break away from the name of an independent company and charge for the position of the Big Seven in Hollywood. But for this report, Eric scoffed and laughed weirdly. What's wrong? What are you laughing at, dear? Eric gestured to his cheek, and Theron snorted obediently. After a pleasant tongue kiss, Eric answered her questions. My actress baby, you can only trust 30% of this bullshit report at most, which is full of speculation and unrealistic inferences. The Lord of the Rings is really a lot of money, but $1.8 billion is still too nonsense, and the new line can get about $1 billion at most. Because there's also dividends from Peter Jackson, Miramax, the Tolkien Copyright Society, and so on. I'll give you the news that Peter Jackson alone took at least $300 million from The Lord of the Rings, especially after the success of the first installment, and his share went up. How do you know about such a secret thing? Theron was a little surprised. It's normal for her to be surprised. It's really $300 million US. This figure is too exaggerated, let alone 2004. Even if it is put in 2024, it can still shock people's jaws. Before winning the actress, although Theron was not a top female star in Hollywood, she was still stable in the first line. However, her salary is only about $6 million, and no one will invite anyone to ask for more, and the producer will consider it and think that you are not worth the price. Even if she wins the actress now, the highest price will not exceed $10 million, no matter how much it is. It will not be possible to pay dividends at the box office. $10 million is still the salary of a commercial blockbuster, and if it is smashed, the price will be reduced immediately. $300 million US is enough for her to shoot 30 films, and she probably won't be able to shoot so many in her life, and surprise is inevitable. Don't believe it. I don't have a good relationship with the bearded man, and once he drank too much and proudly showed off to me. Oh my God, $300 million. I can't imagine that the director is so profitable. Theron hadn't come to his senses yet. Eric pinched her face. The director's job is not easy. If the actor is a screw, then the director is an artist, and the positions and angles of the two are completely different. I ask you a very simple question. You know how many components a full-fledged crew should consist of? I count you, including producers, chief directors, screenwriters, executive producers, co-producers, life producers, executive directors, casting directors, chief cameraman, assistant cameraman, radio crews, lighting crews, props crews, makeup crews, costume crews, venue crews, and actors. There are also post-editing teams, post-dubbing groups, post-production teams, publicity groups, publicity and distribution groups, and ground support groups. Okay. I don't want to be a director anymore. It's too troublesome, and my head is too big to listen to. Theron hurriedly stopped. Eric laughed. You feel troubled just by name. The reality is that you have to coordinate them well, and nothing can go wrong. It's the ability of a top director to be able to make hundreds or thousands of people run efficiently under your command and finally shoot the effect you want and express the ideas you want to express. There are very few directors in Hollywood who have this ability, and Peter Jackson is one of them. What Eric is saying now is still very simple, and when it comes to making movies, it is much more complicated than that, and there are more problems to face. For example, last summer's big hit, Pirates of the Caribbean. Although director Gore Verbinski is not famous, he definitely has the strength to win the first-line director. The most well-known example in the industry is that this guy saw that the first part of the movie was popular and immediately happily saved up the script of the second part with the screenwriter in advance and waited for Disney to give an order to start filming. As a result, he did wait, but it was not good news from Mickey Mouse, because the Disney boss thought that it was too slow to shoot only the second part. If you want to shoot it, let's learn from The Lord of the Rings and The Matrix. Shoot the second and third parts together, strike while the iron is hot to make money, and the release date has been set. But the problem is that people write all the scripts in advance before starting filming so that they can take into account the simultaneous shooting. Pirates of the Caribbean hasn't thought about the third part yet, and the script hasn't been filmed. This kind of commercial blockbuster can't be tossed with him for years like The King of Sunglasses. Disney requires both high quality and fast shooting. Pure beasts are like your Pardier. But director Wabinski had no choice but to follow orders. To add insult to injury, Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed in many locations, a large number of islands had to be visited, and the filming time was still very tight, so he could only go to each island once. In other words, the second and third scenes will be filmed at the same time. But what about the script? What about the fucking script? How do I know what to shoot without a script? So Verbinski could only negotiate urgently with the screenwriter, and after going to an island, he hurriedly saved up a plot, regardless of which plot this plot should be put into the movie, and then filmed it first. So the shooting was double-lined, and the timelines of the two stories were all chaotic. On the fourth day after the second part started, the last scene of the finale of the third part had been filmed. Not to mention that the actors don't know what they're filming. No one knows what they're filming at all. Verbinski himself doesn't know what plot to shoot in front of him to round out the story, and the general director has already stopped eating and calves when he encounters this situation. But unexpectedly, the final result is quite good. What is a top director? So, they're worth the price. Baby, there is another very important thing that has not been clarified in this report, and that is the copyright issue. Although Mr. Tolkien has many works, the most closely connected with The Lord of the Rings is undoubtedly The Hobbit, like other Children of Hewlin and Elven Diamond, but the age is too long, the story is relatively separated, and it is not suitable for making a movie for the time being. And the copyright to The Hobbit isn't in the hands of Miramax and New Line, so why don't you guess who got it? Hearing this question, Theron immediately realized something, and his beautiful eyes revealed surprise. Honey, the copyright is in your hands? Eric nodded. That's right. This is one of the few high-quality assets left by MGM in the past. Of course, if you look at it before The Lord of the Rings became popular, no one realized that this thing could be put on the big screen. That was in the 70s, when the Tolkien family sold the rights to The Hobbit to Wen-Mei Pictures, and then Wen-Mei was bought by MGM, so naturally the rights went to MGM. I owe a debt of gratitude to Warner's for not leaving this gold mine behind, and now it's mine. The Lord of the Rings took the world by storm, spread Tolkien's name all over the world, and paved the way for the filming of The Hobbit, and, in addition to Warner, I have to thank the Weinstein brothers and New Line, who are also the founders. Then let's hurry up and start this project. We will also make a trilogy, and take advantage of the enthusiasm of fans around the world. The project will definitely make a lot of money. Theron suggested. MGM's stock price must have risen sharply after the movie was released, and her own 1% stake in her hands more than doubled. Eric waved his hand. Don't worry, The Hobbit is a high-quality project in your opinion, and in my opinion, it is a bargaining chip, and someone will be more anxious than me. You mean New Line and Miramax? It's all Hollywood companies, but the two of them must be the most anxious, and it won't be long before lobbyists come to the door. But why do you want to do it together? MGM is perfectly capable of doing it on its own, so why share the cake with them? Theron wondered. Eric stroked her blonde hair, which still had a lingering smell of intoxication. I said that copyright is just a bargaining chip, and the New Line can join in, but it needs to show enough sincerity. Money. No, I'm not short of money. What I'm missing is support. What the hell are you talking about, dear? I don't understand your mind at all. I have an initiative that will change the global film and television landscape, and when the time comes, it will attract a lot of dissatisfaction and siege, although I have already won over a few allies. But it is not enough. I need to rally more people around me. I see. It's YouTube and Facebook, right? A little bit of it. You're such a smart girl. I occasionally follow news in other areas, and there are so many reports about Facebook and YouTube, and many people say that these two sites are pushing the internet age higher and farther into the future. They all praise you as a genius, not just in terms of film, but movies hide your talent, and some people even suggest that you focus on the internet. Grasp with both hands, and be hard with both hands. What do you mean? Learning in Huaxia means that two things are done together and each other is achieved. Theron nodded. Now that the Oscars are over, many crews have started filming. When are you going to start filming Inception? I think soon. The crew has already started to build. Nicole Kidman's La Vie en Rose has finished filming, and it will definitely start shooting in March. Do you want to release it at the end of the year? I haven't thought about it yet. I have several blockbusters in my hand waiting to be finalized. I need to plan carefully. It's not a good thing that the Christmas file is too crowded. I have to talk to Spielberg. DreamWorks. Yes, they're making an animated film for me, an A-grade animated blockbuster that MGM has invested more than $100 million in, and, if nothing else, it's going to be the box office champion this year.
Ou cartoon champion.
Yes, it will. Frozen. It has been a year since it was handed over to DreamWorks, and MGM has invested $110 million one after another. Needless to say, it was the box office champion of the year in 2013, grossing $1.28 billion worldwide. Because it was released in late November, Frozen was still in theaters at the end of December, and the box office at that time did not exceed the $1.21 billion of Iron Man 3. Many people thought that the crown of the annual champion would fall to Iron Man 3. Who knew that Frozen continued to make efforts, and in 2014, it continued to make a lot of money at the box office, and it came to a New Year's Eve overtake, and finally Princess Elsa beheaded Tony Stark. Eric gave Spielberg the task of best catching up with the summer slot, which DreamWorks has been working overtime for the past year, but the average cycle of animated films has always been longer than that of live-action films, and it is doubtful whether this goal can be achieved. If you really can't catch up with the summer file, you can only adjust it to the Christmas file. But he still has several blockbusters in his hand that are expected to be in the Christmas file, such as The Hunger Games, Inception, Transformers 2, and so on. It is definitely not possible to get together, and fighting left and right will only end up losing both, and if the schedule cannot be adjusted, it can only be arranged until 2005. Production plans for Captain America and Iron Man have also been announced. Among them, Captain America was directed by the Russo brothers, and American Team 2 and American Team 3, which were the ceiling of Marvel ratings in later generations, were directed by these two brothers, and Avengers 3 and Avengers 4 were also directed by their brothers. Last year, Eric asked them to direct Happy Death Day, and this time it would be better to hand over the entire American Team series to them. As for the script, Eric wrote the outline, which was then refined by the Russo brothers and Stan Lee. The original Captain America 1 can't be said to be a defense. At least it is a mediocre work, a very bland, unbright kind of movie. If you only pay attention to Dubon, you may be surprised by a score of more than 7 points and think it's not bad, but this score is the result of the superposition of various factors. First of all, it was 2011. The Chinese film market had just begun to enter a blowout period, and the new generation of moviegoers had just become the main force. This part of young people has not experienced the baptism of excellent superhero movies, and suddenly saw Captain America, and was naturally attracted by the serum, Rubik's Cube, super soldiers, and other elements in it, and thought that superhero movies should be like this. Then the overall appreciation level of fans is really low, and any kind of bad movie can be popular and make a lot of money, and the representative work is the Small Times series. Feng Xiaojiang's sentence that there are many bad movies in China is because there are many bad audiences, and I have to admit that there is some truth to it. In the final analysis, I haven't seen a good one, my vision is too low, and I am excited when I see something new. This situation lasted for about 10 years before it improved, and the overall level of the movie-watching group has risen, and bad movies are not so easy to cheat money. So masterpieces such as I Am Not the God of Medicine and The Wandering Earth can appear. But looking at European and American audiences in 2011, the economic advantage makes watching movies a daily pastime. X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and other superheroes are frequent visitors to movie theaters, and everyone has already seen too much. In particular, Nolan's version of Batman has brought superhero movies to the ceiling level, and The Dark Knight directly ranks among the top 250 rankings. They have already eaten the delicacies of the mountains and the sea, and then look at the plate of borscht served by Marvel. They can think that it is delicious. There are also many aspects that have been complained about, such as the plot dragging, and many literary dramas in the early stage are completely unnecessary and can be deleted. Your Marvel is not taking the deep path of DC. Why are you doing so many literary dramas? Joy and slapstick are the roads you should take. Don't learn Batman. Whoever learns will die. There are also war dramas that are too child's play, which should be limited by insufficient funds, and most of the scenes of the war are skipped, and there are no big scenes, and it is embarrassing to say that it is World War II. Compared with the war scenes of Wonder Woman, it is too far behind, and it cannot be compared with professional World War II movies. The action scenes are very bad, and you don't want to fight beautifully, but the duel between the American team and the Red Skull should at least not fight each other like street gangsters. Agent Smith, you have also participated in The Matrix. Think about the fight scenes in The Matrix, and then compare the fight scenes in Captain America. Even if you don't have a martial arts instructor, you shouldn't pull your hips like this. Speaking of villains, Red Skull, as the most classic opponent of the American team, is too weak in the movie and is also disliked by the audience. Under the combination of various factors, the global box office of American Team 1 did not exceed $400 million, compared to the production and publicity costs of nearly $200 million. There is no doubt that Marvel has lost money. This is also one of the few movies that makes Marvel lose money, and another loss-making movie is Thor 1, released in the same year, which has the same sparse plot and is worse than American Team 1. But it may be because the popularity is higher than that of the American team, and the Protoss is indeed a little more attractive to the audience than the Terrans, so the box office reached $440 million in the end. If you don't change the plot of this mediocre work, you will fight in the ring with Batman next year, and you will definitely die a violent death. So Eric made a lot of modifications in response to the audience's complaints that year, reduced the number of literary dramas, expanded the war scenes, and filmed the war scenes more realistically, according to the lens of Wonder Woman. The ending of the villain Red Skull has also been modified, and it has been changed to being killed and going offline directly, and engaging in your sister's spatial teleportation. Marvel may have wanted to lay a foreshadowing back then, and the little life of the Red Skull might be used one day. But then I forgot that after 7 or 8 years of filming Avengers 3, I suddenly remembered that there was such a role, so why not hurry up and sneak out for a walk, at least attract a wave of feelings and earn a few more cents at the box office. This practice is purely waste utilization. There is no logic and foreshadowing, and there is no need to arrange this plot and pick your feet awkwardly. Replace all of this boring plot, Eric, and honestly tell an exciting, action-packed hero origin story to ensure that the box office is not lost. Chris Evans plays the male lead Steve Rogers, and the villain Red Skull continues to choose the Elf King Smith Hugo Weaving. Eliza Dushku auditioned for Agent Carter successfully. The popularity and commercial potential of this character are too low, and Marvel has only been out of the TV series for 1 season, so it doesn't matter who it is. Eliza Dushku is beautiful and has rich acting experience, and has participated in film and television dramas with a certain degree of popularity such as Vampire Slayer Buffy, New Ding Arrives, Fatal Bend, etc., and it is no problem to be qualified for this role. As for whether she experienced unspoken rules in the process of getting the role, Eric didn't bother to care. Another important supporting role, Bucky, was taken down by Luke Evans, and the original Winter Soldier actor has not yet debuted, so there is nowhere to find it. Eric, the other characters with fewer scenes, didn't pay attention, and it didn't matter who he loved. He was cannon fodder with few scenes. After the release of this cast list, it received a lot of praise, and the more controversial point was Chris Evans's figure. In order to lose weight and lose muscle in order to play Sam, now he wants to play the American team, and some people think that he is too weak and does not look like a super soldier. In this regard, Chris Evans and fans threw out the stills of the campus big guy they played before, saying that they were confident that they would play a good American team, which was regarded as blocking the mouths of these people. The script of Iron Man does not need to be changed, showing the growth arc of Tony Stark, which is already very good. But it's hard for you to imagine that this script was actually improvised by the director and screenwriter. Iron Man, as Marvel's last fight, stands to reason that it should be fully prepared before starting, but I don't know why the big investment of $140 million was sparse in the early stage. Every day when everyone arrives on the set, the first thing they do is to wait for the director and screenwriter to communicate, flip through comic books for inspiration, and then write two-page script. After the temporary script came out, the director gave an order, and everyone started filming again. This blockbuster that opened the prelude to the superhero era, if it weren't for director Jon Favreau's ability to control the overall situation well enough, and Robert Downey Jr.'s ability to hang up is strong enough, this drama would be 100% on the street. If the later American Team 1 and Thor 1 fail, Marvel will enter the grave in advance, and the DCU will not appear later. So Robert Downey Jr. can get a salary of hundreds of millions of dollars, and Marvel is not wronged. However, Iron Man 2, which is still directed by Jon Favreau, has pulled his hips. Fans and passers-by have a good reputation, and the guidance of Iron Man 3 has also been given to others. It's a pity that Iron Man 3 was also filmed very averagely, and the reputation of fans is worse than the second part, but the reputation of passers-by has improved. The series Iron Man belongs to the peak at the beginning, and it is all supported by the first part and several Avengers scenes. Fortunately, Avengers is good except for the second part, otherwise this superhero will collapse. Tony Stark is played by Robert Downey Jr., who has been apologizing and repenting since his comeback from Shoulder Dance, although there are still many people questioning, but Downey's public image has been reversed a lot. Little Pepper chose Jennifer Lopez, a big beauty with both heat and acting skills. Nick Fury continues to hire Samuel L. Jackson, and the villain Iron Overlord is still the old actor Jeff Bridges. Except for Robert Downey Jr., who was criticized by some, the overall casting was satisfied with fans. The Hunger Games is Godot, who took the lead and arranged the role of the little fox in the original 5th District to Louis Fay. This role is very smart. Eric has added another very capable fight. Chinese stars must be able to play if they want to gain a foothold in Hollywood. Liu Yifei's kung fu, after a year of practice, should come in handy. The actor chose Andrew Garfield, who was originally the ideal Sam candidate in Eric's heart, but unfortunately he did not participate in the audition for Transformers at that time, and finally made his debut this year. The British trio also arranged a blockbuster film for each of them, and Tom Hardy filmed Inception. Needless to say, this drama attracted great attention from the outside world the moment the cast list was announced. Christian Bale, Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, Heath Ledger, Tom Hardy, Ken Watanabe, Morgan Freeman. Except for Tom Hardy and Heath Ledger, who are a little immature, the others are either Oscar winners or nominees, and they are also the best supporting actor. Coupled with Eric, a director who can be commercial, literary, and artistic, and the best screenwriter, the Oscar-level lineup is too scary and dazzling, and has been labeled as a must-see by many people. Jean Yimei also got the leading actor this time, and MGM plans to start filming Wanted. Or another, more recognizable name, the bullet that would turn and contribute to the famous scene of Star-Lord's teeth flying out of the League of Assassins. He really came to prominence through this play, and this time he gave it back to him, hoping that he could soar into the sky. In addition to League of Assassins, there is also a low-budget thriller, Split, that also made him the leading actor. The drag racing movie that stole the idea of Fast and Furious is also about to start filming and chose to make Furious 5, a masterpiece that really makes the series a first-line big IP. You've got Vin Diesel. I'll ask Dwayne Johnson to fight in the ring. With Paul Walker, I'll choose Michael Fassbender, who also has a beard. Anyway, Rush has some configurations, and I also have Hurricane, and the beauty of the fragrant car is galloping. The story of a group of car thieves racing in Rio de Janeiro is certainly much stronger than last year's Furious 3 Tokyo Drift. After a year, it's time for 007's new series to start, and the last, No Time to Die, was sold to Universal because MGM itself was not doing well, making the family make a lot of money. This time, Eric naturally won't let it anymore, because Bruce Pierce stepped down from 007, the global auditions have already begun, and the British actor Daniel Craig has finally been finalized. Accustomed to seeing his 007, there is no one more suitable than Craig. Then this movie is naturally finalized, and 007 Casino Royale has started filming. MGM has also acquired the rights to film and television adaptations from the Queen's Rights Management Society and is about to launch the musical biopic Bohemian Rhapsody. The film is an absolute example of a high degree of integration of commercial art, slashing more than $900 million at the global box office, winning multiple Oscar nominations, and winning the Best Actor trophy. Eric personally sent an invitation to Uncle Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix, and the other party reads the script and readily agrees. But it will take at least 3 months to prepare, and he will need to learn more about Queen's singing. For this kind of dedicated actor, Eric is naturally full of promises. If it weren't for Eric's crossing, Joaquin Phoenix would have filmed Walking with the Song next year, the same musical biopic and the same award-winning film, so he would have been the leading actor in Bohemian Rhapsody. In addition, the casting of Twilight also began, and the actor Robert Pattinson was not found, but he found the superhero Henry Cavill. He has only debuted for a year, and his figure is not yet strong and masculine in the Superman period. He can play a vampire with makeup, and his age of 20 is also in line with the character. It's even more impossible for the heroine to find Kristen Stewart, who is only 14 years old and hasn't grown up yet. Blake Lively was lucky enough to win the role, and at the age of 17, she was well suited for the role with her proud face and temperament. These are just some of MGM's plans for 2004, and there are many small and medium-budget films in addition to big productions. $1 Million Baby, Mean Girl, A Quiet Place, The Conjuring, Ghost Record, Napoleon, Juno, Wedding Proud, Brokeback Mountain, Barbershop 2, Chainsaw 3, Happy Death Day 2, Hold Your Breath 2. In addition to Sharknado and Human Removal Plan, AK Film and Television is preparing to start filming the Machete series. For the time being, the newly established BK Film and Television, which is led by Pema Hardy, will focus on small-budget horror films in the future. This year, I plan to shoot Human Skin in Human Centipede, Invisible Man, Pearl, and so on. This is just a movie, not counting TV series and variety shows. Compared to last year, this year's production density has been significantly enhanced. The reason why so many people are filmed is to attract traffic to Lionheart.com, and on the other hand, it is to snipe other companies. The day of Lionheart's online launch is getting closer and closer, and the moment when MGM will be the target of public attention is getting closer and closer. The most common means of competition for film and television companies is movie sniping, aiming at your schedule and using blockbusters to suppress your box office. As long as several companies join forces to do it, you will be on this month, I will be on next month, and he will be on next month. They may lose, but the company being targeted will surely die a terrible death. There is only one exception, that is, my film department is very capable of playing, even if you use blockbusters to press. At most we will lose both, and no one will be able to please anyone. Only put these homes the gang is hurt and scared, and they lose money to the point of heartache and loss until the stock price plummets, and they will finally admit defeat and recognize the status of streaming media. That's what Eric was going to do. So he asked Peter Jackson to book a contract for 30 films, and 30 was still conservative. You must know that it is not only blockbusters that do special effects, and small costs will also be used. The difference is only in the number of special effects. TV shows are getting more and more daring and explicit nowadays, and they always make and broadcast some adult images, which is very bad. In the video, Republican Congressman Kimberly Carter expresses his views in the face of questioning. "Mr. Counselor, are you saying there is too much sex?" the reporter continued. "No, sex is only one aspect. On top of that, there is a lot of foul language, violence, killing, plasma, and even blasphemy, which is simply terrible and can have a serious adverse effect on teenagers and especially children. But we have a grading system. Yes, I acknowledge the role and necessity of the grading system, but you have to understand that the review is also done by people, and the rules are vague a lot of the time, so the MPAA can play the sideline. These companies don't do hard pornography. They don't let actors expose their private parts publicly, but as long as you cover a small piece of fabric, everything becomes allowed. But is this reasonable? It's very unreasonable. It's soft pornography, it's a side game, and that little piece of fabric is just insulting to people's intelligence. And can you guarantee that kids won't sneak into adult channels? We all know it's so easy. Parents can't watch their kids 24 hours a day. They still have to work. What is your point of view, Kimberly? We are working on a bill to reevaluate the issue of the scale of television programs, and we have to set the standards more clearly. It's saving our next generation, and saving the next generation is saving America. After watching this interview, Eric crossed his legs. Since last year, the Republican Party has been looking for trouble with the television media, hoping to introduce a new bill to draw a new frame. Nudity, violence, and pornography are just excuses, and in the final analysis, they want to take the new standard-setting power into their own hands. As long as the right to formulate is obtained, it can effectively curb those media that are not very obedient and side with the Democratic Party. Only by mastering the media mouthpiece can we better publicize ourselves and suppress our opponents, and can we win more votes, which is the root cause. On the American side, the media are mainly divided into 4 main categories in terms of political positions. The first group stands for the Republican Party, which is commonly referred to as conservatives, represented by Bush Jr. and later the Golden Retriever, who represents the media fox. The second group is the Democratic Party, which is the so-called radical faction, needless to say, the representative media, NBC, CNN, etc., which are more powerful than the Republican Party. As the saying goes, Hollywood is the Democratic Party's vote base, and who is behind Hollywood? Many film and television companies, media, and television stations. The third category is absolutely neutral and does not take sides, representing the PBS of the TV station, which mainly broadcasts educational content, children's content, etc., and has a very low commerciality. The fourth category is like the people of Goose City in Let the Bullets Fly. Whoever wins will stand with them, such as CBS, ABC, MTV, etc. Now, every once in a while, Republican lawmakers jump out to change the bill. However, the Democrats are strongly opposed, so things are not so easy to do. As someone who is deeply involved in entertainment social media, Eric naturally expressed strong opposition to the bill. After thinking for a moment, He picked up his phone and dialed a number. John Adams, Eric, is there anything wrong with calling me? It's nothing. It's just that I just finished watching Fox's News, and a congressman named Kimberly Carter is promoting the theory of TV poisoning again. Kimberly Carter? I know him, who has been in politics for more than 30 years, has a certain position in the Republican Party, old man. John, do you understand this? The Republicans are working on a new bill. What is their purpose? John Adams laughed a few times. Eric, how would someone as smart as you understand? I have some ideas, but I need to ask you for verification. I'm not a politician, but you're a new star, and the military and politics are not separated. My answer is the same as you know, but you don't have to worry at all. It won't affect MGM much. It's almost impossible for this bill to pass, even if George W. Bush is in power now, but no matter what the Republicans want to do, Congress will definitely get stuck with him. Unless there is a sudden event that has a huge social impact that provokes serious public outrage and forces the Democrats to back down. But this kind of thing is not so easy to happen, and it is not so easy to ferment and explode because the Democratic Party will definitely try to suppress the impact. Cases like gay marriage, which have had a huge impact across the country, are the result of decades of hard work, and they don't happen overnight. According to you, don't care about it? There's no need. Instead of wasting time on this kind of thing, let's hurry up and launch the Lionheart Network. I haven't asked yet. Are the preparations done? Lionheart has a 5% stake in John Adams, which will be worth at least billions of dollars in the future. It's coming soon. I just need to be more powerful to deal with the upcoming war, so I'm delaying the launch of Lionheart Online again and again. In fact, I'm more anxious than you. Eric, what do you seem to be worried about? Yes, in the circle. If it's limited to the entertainment industry, then I may not be able to help, and the family members and friends I know are not in the entertainment industry. Is there anyone who engages in cultural education? This one does. There is no separation between the military and the government, and there is no separation between culture and entertainment, and there may be times when you really need your help. Well, then speak. Knock. Knock. There was a knock on the door outside, and Eric hung up. A woman in a professional suit walked in, with not-so-tall red heels and long brown hair coiled behind her head. She had a pair of glasses on her beautiful face, and through the lenses she could see her azure pupils, somewhat similar to those of Alessandra Daddario. She is Carol Ray, 42 years old, Eric's new secretary, and is currently in transition with Chun-Xing. Eric's original intention was to find another young male secretary, and the shortlist sent to him was 2 men and 1 woman, and the woman was Carol Ray. She has many years of work experience and is much more capable than 2 men in their 20s. At least the transition doesn't need to be very long. However, Eric still didn't want to use her. After all, women at this age have to take care of the family, and they may not be able to keep up with their work progress wholeheartedly. But after the interview, I found out that Carol had just returned to being single last year. Her husband died drunk and fell into the river, and the insurance did not pay a dime, and the burden of life suddenly increased. So she left her comfortable small company and came to MGM to apply for a job in the hope of a higher salary and benefits. The child only has 1 daughter who is in college, so she is currently the only one in the family who can bear overtime and is willing to endure hardships. Considering the situation that the company is about to face, Eric will definitely be busy in the future, and after weighing the pros and cons, he decided to give her a chance. At present, it has been a week since I joined the company, and the work status has entered quickly, so there is no need to worry about the degree of adaptation to the position. Boss, this is the information of newly recruited employees. A total of 562 people, except for the market side, other departments are relatively flat. I've categorized them by their ability and years of work, and you can get a pretty clear picture of them. Eric took the file and flipped through it, And this year, MGM's work schedule has increased dramatically, and the company has returned to the market, so it is time to hire a new batch of employees. In addition to MGM, Facebook and YouTube will also have to hire another batch of people before the summer, and the expansion is too fast and the work pressure is very high. Even if he receives a high salary and bonuses, he is not a spring, and he can't stand it sooner or later. What's more, according to Facebook's current scale, it is bound to go abroad this year, and more people will be needed at that time. I'll take a look first, you go out. Carol nodded, turned, and left the office. Her skin was fair, her breasts were huge, she had a G cup, and she trembled a few times when she turned around, indicating that it was definitely genuine. The butt is also very warped, and you can still maintain such a good figure at this age. Talent and perseverance are indispensable. Bell. Eric was looking through the file in his hand when his phone suddenly called. It was Jenny. After connecting it, you can clearly feel the noise on the other side, and the music and people's shouts are loud and harsh. Jenny, you're a little noisy over there, so you'd better speak louder. That's right, I'm rehearsing for the Super Bowl halftime show, and it's time to be on stage in a few hours. You won't forget. Ha ha ha, how could it be? I and my buckle would have gone to watch it, and the NFL gave me a ticket and said it was the best place to watch. But this thing is really expensive. A VIP seat ticket costs $60,000, and a regular ticket costs more than $4,000, which is a robbery, and it is much more profitable than a movie. Jenny, but this game is only once a year, and your film can be released all year round, and there is no comparison between the two. And for a super rich person like you, is there a difference between a $60,000 ticket and a $6,000 ticket? I can't say that. My money is useful. It's not enough to spend, at least not yet. The two chatted for a while, and the noise over there subsided a lot. Eric, I've found a hidden space. How are I doing now? Can you hear clearly? Well, that's a lot clearer. What the hell are you trying to say, Jenny? Jenny took a deep breath. Eric, about your warning the other day, I think it's happening. Well, is it about the show? Are you saying Justin Dinglake is looking for you? Yes, he said he wanted to add some more exciting moves to the show, so that he could attract more eyeballs and make the ratings higher, and he wanted to make this year's ratings record-breaking. Towards the end of the show, he would suddenly tear off my bra to reveal my bra. You promised? Asked Eric warily. Of course not. How could I agree to such an unreasonable request? I scolded him and refused. Very good. Done right. That's how it should be, Jenny. You just have to put on a normal show. There's no need to put yourself in for a little ratings. Wait, I'm not done yet, and after I refused, Justin Dinglake approached the directors of CBS and MTV, and they were interested in the proposal, and now the three parties are working together to persuade me to adopt it. Are they pressuring you? Yes, CBS is the broadcaster of this Super Bowl, MTV is the producer of the halftime show. You know what they represent. CBS is also the organizer of the next Grammys, and it has the power to decide which singer to invite and which not to invite, and now I'm in a difficult situation, and the pressure is really high. And they also advised me to cover the core with a nipple patch to make sure it didn't go out. Justin Dinglake also assured that he would be careful, and CBS said that if there was an accident on set, it would switch to the rehearsal scene in time. Anyway, it's all in place, and it doesn't seem that bad, and to be honest, I'm a little impressed. Eric, maybe that's a really good idea. You know, Madonna's concert is even more daring. I'm just showing a bra, and it's nothing. And it's a good promotion for The Voice and my new album. Maybe I should accept it, but I always feel like I should ask for your opinion. You said someone was trying to harm me. Can you confirm the news? Jenny's tone and mentality change are obviously going in an unfavorable direction. She is just a person, and it is still difficult to withstand the pressure of CBS MTV, but fortunately she still knows to ask herself. Jenny, this is a sensitive time. Don't do anything stupid. Do you understand the current environment? What? Eric gave a brief account of the situation. Jenny, shoot the first bird. Now the Republican Party is worried that it can't find a suitable target to do a big thing. You must not be caught. Jenny was a little surprised. Is it already so serious? But I don't really understand. CBS and MTV are neutral media. Why do you do this? Because now it's George W. Bush in power, not the Democratic Party. Listen to me. Don't do stupid things, understand? Okay, I'm not going to joke about my career. First ask you if your attitude is really right. Fuck. These guys are trying to use me as a gun. Gun, Jenny, guns are already overestimated. They just treat you as a sacrifice. Sacrifice you in exchange for the benefit of many people. In an instant, Jenny suddenly felt a chill all over her body. It's all bitch-raised guys, and I'm going to make them pay, especially Justin Timberlake, this scumbag. Don't be impulsive, Jenny. Don't worry, I'm not going to hit him. There's a better way. What do you want to do? I haven't thought about it yet, but we'll see. Houston, the largest city in Texas, is also known as the City of Rockets after Sam Houston, the president of the Republic of Texas at the time. The nickname comes not from the NBA Rockets, but from the fact that it is one of the NASA centers, where NASA is headquartered, and the team is named after the city's hotspots. Thanks to Yao Ming's entry into the Rockets as the champion in 2002, and his performance slapped many people who were not optimistic, especially Barkley, who was pro-donkey. There is also a Yao Ming documentary being filmed this year. De Yao's outstanding performance has made the city of Houston well known to more and more Chinese people. However, after the retirement of De Yao, coupled with the political leaning of the NBA itself, not to mention the Rockets, the NBA as a whole has entered a period of recession in China. Houston is also an important port city, and it is also a wealthy first-class city in the world, which is unique among the poorer buddies in the South. Reland Stadium, Houston's largest sports event center, has a capacity of more than 50,000 spectators. The 2003 NFL Finals will be held here today, featuring the American League champion New England Patriots versus the National League champion Carolina Panthers, attracting fans from hundreds of cities across the United States. Not to mention the high cost of tickets for the ball game, even the cost of flights and local hotels has increased several times. At Houston Airport, a medium-sized plane slowly lands, and Eric and Miklock step out of it. After MGM relaunched, Eric bought the plane for work. For people like him, flying around is as frequent as going to school and coming home in the future, and taking public flights is too slow, so buying a private jet has become the first choice for value performance. Things are not expensive, about $45 million, and after counting the cost of various redecorations and equipment, $48 million to take. Not counting the crew of 20 people, it only takes more than 2 hours to fly from Los Angeles to Houston, which is very convenient. Carol was talking on the phone as she walked, and soon 3 Lincoln businesses were carrying them and their accompanying bodyguards towards Reland Stadium. Boss, there was still more than an hour before the start of the game, and we were totally in time. Eric nodded. Maiku, in addition to Jenny and Justin Timberlake, which other star was invited to this halftime show? My button shook his head slightly. I don't know. I've been busy with the recording of The Voice and this year's concert, and I haven't paid much attention to this aspect. The Boss and Jessica Simpson, Daddy Braga, Nelly, and Kid Rock, Carol said, turning her head sideways. Her White Rabbit is so eye-catching that even if Eric doesn't want to see it, he can catch a glimpse of it by accident, unintentionally. There were 6 people this year. It seems that the NFL is putting more and more emphasis on the halftime show. Maiko was a little surprised. Maiko, I remember you were on the halftime show too, Eric said suddenly with interest. Maiko covered his face a little shyly. Yes, I participated in it in 1993, and the halftime show at that time was not as popular as it is now, and it could only be regarded as an embellishment of the game. But you set it on fire, And now everyone admits that you made the halftime show, but it's a pity that you're only halfway open. What? Why half? Said Micus, looking at Eric suspiciously. Because the attention has gone up, but the appearance fee has come down, and there is still some remuneration. But if this trend continues, it is estimated that it will become a public welfare performance in another 10 years. Carol smiled. Boss, in fact, the current market is already very awkward. Even if many celebrities are willing to go on stage for free, the NFL is not willing to invite. The coffee position is too low. At least you have to be a rock kid who is not low profile. Otherwise, even if you kneel at the gate of the league, people will not look at you. Compared with Chin Xing, Carol is obviously better at communicating and can talk but does not talk nonsense, which is very good. The current situation, she said, couldn't help but remind Eric of Sister Lang, who crossed the front toilet, and Hejia, who was dressed in black material, recommended herself every year, but people ignored her at all. It's not that she dislikes her reputation too badly. After all, what kind of reputation does the toilet table want, and does the TV station that can be called the toilet have a reputation at all? The real reason is that it has long been decided, and the so-called self-recommendation method is just to hide people's eyes and ears and gain a good image, and many people in the circle know it. Arriving at the stadium while speaking, several people came to the stands through a special passage. There are no strange VIP boxes for you. They are just grandstand seats. Even if you are the president and the prince are coming, they are still grandstand tickets. The difference is that you can buy all the seats around you, create a vacuum area, or let your bodyguards fill the seats, as long as you have the money. There is no need for makeup in this case, because it has no effect in the slightest. When you get tickets, the organizers already know the information. They keep an eye on the big stars. The cameraman is on standby, and the camera is always waiting for you. There are tens of thousands of people at the scene, not to mention makeup. You can be recognized even if you turn to ashes. Instead of blocking, it's better to watch the ball generously. Once the final starts, no one will pay attention to you, the big star. Oh, I've seen you. Oh my God. My eyes seem to be inflexible. They seem to be intrigued. And I see Michael Jackson. Look at Chandler over there. It's Jackson. He's also here to watch the game. He must have come to cheer on his sister. Wait, the person next to him is also a little familiar. Joey, is your head show funny? You're an actor, and you don't even know him? Oscar. The Oscar the other day. So quickly forgot. OMG. OMG. Eric Cooper. It's Eric Cooper. MGM president. No, I'm going to go over and have a look. Wait, don't run around. What do you want to do? Don't you see that he is surrounded by 5 big and 3 thick bodyguards in civilian clothes? Ross, don't pull me. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to show it. What if he gives me a role? He is known as the director who is the best at accommodating newcomers. No, don't be impulsive. What are you going to show? Chandler, of course. It's my specialty fart-smelling show. He's going to be shocked. Of course, if the game starts, the number of people who follow the stars will naturally decrease, but the problem is that it hasn't started yet. The two immediately ushered in a lot of fans who asked for group photos and autographs. It wasn't until Beyoncé sang the song that the audience's attention was drawn. Then the players of both sides walked onto the field. The game officially began, and the attention of the audience returned to the fierce collision. Ooh, ooh. Yes, as the strong men fell and flew on their backs, the audience at the scene screamed excitedly, as if they had been beaten with chicken blood. Boss, don't you like rugby? But seeing Eric's expressionless face, Carol asked curiously, and in her consciousness, almost all American men were crazy about football. Eric shrugged. I still prefer football to rugby. Soccer? That's a surprising answer. My husband used to say when he was alive that soccer was boring, that it was soft, and that it was like a girl's sport compared to rugby. It's normal for him to think that way. After all, that's what most American men think. but I still think rugby is too barbaric, and even though my brother is also in rugby, I still say that. Carol smiled slightly. I understand. For an upper-class person like you, boss, maybe elegant golf is your first choice. No, it's actually my first choice for underwear bowls. Ha 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 ha, then you should be in Los Angeles, where there are 26 sexy lingerie models fighting, and, if you're lucky, you might be able to see a pop dress. At least that's what the ad says. Lingerie bowl? A new thing in the major leagues this year. 26 sexy models were found, including many contestants with a certain degree of popularity and fans, such as Playboy Girl. The girls would split into 2 teams and wear only bikinis during the match. They will tear, dash, run, jump up and down, and if they don't keep it together, some shelter will fall to the ground, revealing something that shouldn't be exposed. And compared to the high ticket price of a Super Bowl, which is often thousands of dollars, the underwear bowl is only $20, and the conscience is at grandma's house, but the game time is only more than 20 minutes. When the major leagues announced the game, men all over the United States went crazy and waited to be fed. Many die-hard fans are hesitating. Should I watch the Super Bowl or should I watch the lingerie bowl? This question is no less difficult than a wife and mother falling into the water at the same time. Eric chuckled. The league should really stagger the timing of the lingerie bowl with the Super Bowl and hold it at the same time to make a lot of people face Sophie's choice. But it doesn't matter to me. Anyway, I don't feel like the Super Bowl, and next year's underwear bowl will definitely go to the scene to watch and learn. As he spoke, Eric glanced at her big breasts again, thinking to himself that the 26 models were probably inferior to you. With these 2 big guys, I don't know if you can run? In the field, Eric also saw CCTV, Sina, Sohu, and other Chinese media. CCTV is broadcasting this game live. Sina and Sohu are still the same old, live broadcast with pictures and texts. Since last year, the NFL has been looking forward to entering the market across the ocean, which is known as a terrifying market for 1.3 billion people. Once it expands like basketball, it will be enough to raise the influence of rugby to a higher level, and it is just around the corner to become the second sport in the world. It's a pity that there is no Yao Ming in the field of rugby, and there is no rugby master that is popular among Chinese teenagers. Huaxia also has no land to build stadiums, and parents will not allow their children to participate in such a dangerous sport. If all these conditions are met, and the leadership is also interested, there is a real possibility that this plan will be realized. Watching the game in a daze, Eric couldn't even understand the rules, and he was even more indifferent to the frenetic atmosphere of the scene. Even if the camera was dedicated to him and my button, he only waved his hand symbolically, and he couldn't get excited at all. Until halftime, the players on both sides replenished their strength, and the halftime show that countless people were looking forward to kicked off. Eric and Mylok looked at each other, their attention focused. The performances of several stars are interspersed, each for a period of time, until Jenny comes on the stage. The song she sang today is Someone to Call My Lover, a very sexy song that matches the hot atmosphere of the scene. Coupled with the gorgeous stage effects and the sexy leather jacket half-naked male and female backup dance troupe, it immediately caused the audience to cheer. However, one thing is different from what Eric remembers. He remembers that Jenny was supposed to wear a black performance costume, but the one presented on stage was red. Jenny's clothes seemed to have changed. What does she want to do? Eric thought to himself, and could only pray that there would be no moth. Jenny is in great shape. I can see she's very excited, but it's a bit out of balance with the power of the dance. My co-whispered while watching. Imbalanced. Where is unbalanced? I don't see it at all. It probably doesn't affect the general audience. It's just my personal feeling. You can't hold everyone to your own standards, even if it's your sister. At this point, in the midst of a snare drum beat, Scum Justin Dinblake makes an appearance, and Eric's attention becomes more focused. On stage, the two began to sing Rock Your Body together, and they sang and dance moves, mainly Jennie dancing. She made some provocative moves with the lyrics, but she did not dance closely with Joscum, but always maintained a certain distance. On the other hand, Joscumbag showed a stunned look on his face for a moment, but then he continued to rap and tried to get closer to Jennie. The two of them advanced and retreated, singing as they walked. It looks like it's working well together, but it feels like you're catching up. As the song progressed further and further, Eric's heart tightened. In the midst of the cheers of the tsunami at the scene, Joscum suddenly hurried to catch up with Jennie and sang the last few lyrics. At the moment when the last word fell, he suddenly reached out to grab Jennie's chest and then jerked it under the gaze of tens of thousands of people in the audience. It's very fierce, and anyone can see that this is a good force. But the corset does not move at all. The expected thing didn't happen, and Joscum's expression was obviously stunned for a moment, and then he pulled hard. At this point, not only the song ended, but even the background music stopped. But Jennie's microphone was stuck in the collar, but it was able to take in the sound very clearly. Snort. This time, the clothes finally couldn't withstand the force, and part of it was torn apart in an instant. And there is no breasts. The black bra protects the little sisters inside very well, and the content that is exposed is not as much as the backup dance. Although it may not be good to say this, there is really nothing to see, and the photos are much more powerful than this scene. Jennie, on the other hand, hurriedly covered her chest and took a step back, looking at Joscum with a shocked face. Smack! There was another audible crisp sound, and Jennie slapped Justin Timberlake in the face.